Hi, it's Texi. So, as you may know, I just graduated from uni like a month ago. So, I thought it could be fun to do like kind of a, I guess, retrospective, is that the word? But just like go through all the art stuff I have done in the past 4 years for uni assignments, since I think it could be interesting for people because I studied visual design. So our focus was a lot on stuff like graphic design and illustration and other stuff. So might be interesting for people who are curious about possibly also studying stuff in this field to just give an idea of what to expect. Obviously, different schools teach stuff differently, so this is just my own experience. And like I'm in Finland, so I'm only good for answering like questions about Finnish education and stuff like that, so I may not be very helpful if you have general questions about studying in art school. But I thought this could be a fun thing to do anyway and just kind of dig through my folders because I don't even remember everything that we have done, especially in the first 2 years, which is what most of this is going to be because our third year was basically like first lab thing and then like internship. So I don't have many school assignments I could show from there, and then my fourth year was just my thesis. But I can show stuff from my thesis project since I made a game and I have a lot of like animation sprites and stuff. So yeah, let's start from year one. This first thing is a poster we made for a graphic design class. We had to basically pick a design style and make something like based on it. I picked Art Deco and I actually really like this. I still do. Like this was when I was still very early on learning Illustrator and stuff. I don't know how Art Deco it is, but it's still probably one of my favorite things I have done. This is also from the same graphic design course. So basically we had to like make what's it called in English? I guess graphics guidelines, things like you design a logo and then you have to like make instructions on what you're allowed to do with it. So we had like a fictional company and first I had to design a logo for it and then like make this whole instructional thing on what you are allowed to do with the logo and give examples and like what fonts and colors you are supposed to use with the company. That logo is kind of dumb now that I look back on it, but I remember liking it at the time and I actually like my colors a lot because this was supposed to be like a very Finnish company. So I think my colors at least reflect that very well. This thing was for an Illustrator class. We had to like come up with a bunch of different screens for a weather app, and I made a weather app for introverts. So it's basically just this one person sitting reading and being like, okay, it's a good week to do nothing. And then it just shows the weather for the week. We had to like come up with a bunch of different weather symbols. Yeah, I think we had to make like 4 fake screenshots for it. This was a fun assignment. Oh, this was for a character design class. We had to like animate him and stuff. This class was technically a summer class, so I was so exhausted at this point. This is all still first year stuff. So I don't think I really put enough effort into the whole class because I just wasn't feeling like doing anything anymore. I just needed a vacation so badly. But I think this little guy is kinda cute. We had to animate him in After Effects too, but I don't know if I have the actual animation anywhere. And then we had a comic class. So we actually made like a whole comic book together as a class. We all did like maybe maximum 4-page stories. So that was fun. I actually, before uni, I went to another art school for a couple of years where I focused specifically on comics, so it was really going back to my roots, doing this kind of stuff. So this is just a little comic about my character Melanie, who I'm currently working on a visual novel about. And this is like the one assignment I actually stayed up until 3 a.m. for. Usually I was really good about deadlines, but for some reason this I did like at the last minute. I remember my friend and I both just suffering on Discord trying to finish our comics on time. It's basically just Melanie has a nightmare and this another character, Mero, comes to comfort her like she has nothing to fear anymore. She's safe. This wasn't a mandatory class. This was something we could sign up for if you wanted to. It was like a visualization of information, and this was like the final task for it. The actual class otherwise was like this super intense week of just doing a project, and we had like international teachers visiting and stuff, and it was intense. But this final thing we could kind of do on our own time, and we had a lot more time to spend on it in general, so it wasn't as stressful. We had to like pick a topic and make an informational poster about it. So I decided to dig through some Steam stats of what kind of PC components people who use Steam commonly have, and like put together the very basic PC. I really like the computer I made, even though it's super simplified. But like all the little components and stuff, it was fun to make. I think my teacher liked this because apparently computer parts are something that like the average person might not really think of that much unless they are like really into gaming or something and just actually need a powerful PC. This was for our typography class, and this was a bit different from our usual stuff actually, because like most of the things we did, we just did like digitally on a computer, and then there's this. Like our typography teacher was great. He was like a bit more old school, and he was just really passionate about fonts and stuff, and his lectures were really interesting because of that. And he decided to make us do a bit more like hands-on final project. We had to like design a thing and then do this thing where I don't even remember how the technique works anymore, but we had to like attach the design on some kind of item. I was super basic and I just put it on a plank of wood, and it's an Outlander inspired thing, but I know my classmates did stuff like put their designs on t-shirts or suitcases and stuff, and we did a really cool whole gallery thing of them. And I actually I made Christmas presents to my family using this same technique. I like made pictures of our pets and then gave these wood planks to them too. Yeah, this is an Outlander inspired quote. It's like from Jamie and Claire's wedding vows. They're like, "You're the blood of my blood," blah blah. But yeah, this was really cool. Something a bit different to do. I think that was all I had for the first year. Yes, I don't think I even have everything saved, because we obviously did a lot more smaller stuff too. But yeah, I should probably explain how our classes work in general. So basically, we never had exams except for like language classes and one art history class we had to take. Those were the only ones where we had like actual exams. And all the creative classes worked basically like we had a bunch of smaller assignments, and then at the end of the class we were given some kind of bigger project we had to do. I liked that format of classes a lot because I hate exams, and just being able to work on a project at home was much nicer. Like, I was lucky enough to actually have a good computer, so I didn't have to spend hours at school in the evenings working on these final project things because I could do them at home. Now let's jump to year 2. Okay, so we had this class where we had to like practice using different art programs like Photoshop and Illustrator, and we were told to like play around with clipping masks and creating textures and stuff, so I made a bunch of different geckos. This was just a silly thing. This is the greatest thing I have ever created, and I actually forgot about this. So basically we had like a Photoshop class where we had to do like photo manipulations and stuff, and our final assignment was to design a CD cover. So I made a Nebzilla, that's our leopard gecko, hanging out here, and I basically made her appear like a giant on top of a bunch of buildings, and she's now Nebzilla and she's a dragon. Obviously I clearly took this assignment super seriously. But I had a lot of fun with it. It's obviously not super well done, like this picture I picked of Nebs was really focused on her face, so the rest of her details are super blurry, but I didn't have better pictures of her to use, so I just went with it because I needed to make something and I really wanted to do this idea. This was the final assignment for the art software class. We had to come up with a branding for a fictional cafe, and obviously I had to go the extra kawaii route because I'm me. So I made Happy Cupcake. We had to like come up with a logo and then make designs for all the packaging the cafe would use for their food stuff, and then they would have like their own coffee brand, and then we had to come up with one extra product, so I decided they have a soda. So this is their coffee cup. It's very cute. We had to do these mock-up things and it was really cool. Because you can find mock-ups like these just by googling, and then you can super easily slap your own designs on them to just kind of show off how they would work as real products. So this is sandwich boxes and the coffee bag and stuff, and then the soda bottle. These are probably my favorites. And then we had to make an ebook, an interactive ebook. This is the first page art for it that I made, but I'm gonna actually show the whole book because it has sounds and everything. It's not very good, and because I don't have a Mac, it's not gonna show the correct fonts and stuff, and it's not gonna work perfectly, but it's still, it's something. So I'm gonna show you guys the full thing. So yeah. It has the text appearing like this. This was for a digital publishing class, by the way. So we practiced making ebooks a lot. And I learned that it's a pain. Dang. I like this page because I got to like properly play around with the interactive animation stuff. Like, it's over, Alice. This is actually kinda related to my final thesis project too, because this was about the same character I used in that game that I made for it. Oh yeah, we did web design too. I wanna show this one. Because I designed a website for our book club. This is like a mood board for the website, like what colors I was gonna use and stuff, and like inspiration photos. So yeah, this was for the web design class. I made a whole beautiful thing for our Discord book club, which actually is still up and running. You should totally join if you're into books. We have people who read all kinds of books, so we have a good time, and we have monthly read-alongs and stuff. This was such a pain to make work. I remember crying to my fiancé, like literally crying, and needed him to help me with all this. I like these little notes and stuff. It's not a terrible website, considering I have not made that many. And look, it actually works. We actually use this logo for the book club still. And this is my 3D assignment. I hate 3D a lot, okay? So it's really not my passion. But I like this little animation I managed to put together because we had to like create a character and then use Mixamo to animate it. She's not amazing, but she works. She can dance. Yeah, 3D is a thing I really should learn, and I actually I've been thinking about practicing stuff like Blender. It's just something that never clicked very well with me, because I guess it's so much more technical than just drawing, and that's why I find it intimidating. So I guess we are skipping to my final year, since I don't really have anything interesting to show from my third year. Oh yeah, on my fourth year in November I participated in this class where we put together like a whole art installation thing for a light festival, and we all had to come up with poster designs for the event, and for some reason they chose to use mine as the official poster, which was wild because I feel like this is so basic. But it was cool to actually see it printed in like full size, because it was as tall as the teacher who brought it to show us. Yeah, it was a really fun project. We like made these animations that were projected in the background of this glass box, and then we had dancers in there, and the audience could like vote for a color they wanted to see, and each color had like different animations and music, and the dancers kind of improvised the thing. It was an intense weekend. I'll say that. It was a really cool project to be a part of. Aside from my thesis, I didn't really take any other creative classes except for this one final painting class I did like over the summer after I finished my thesis. So I had to make 8 paintings. So this was the first assignment. We basically had to do a landscape, so I just looked for some kind of photo reference from Unsplash and painted that. I don't do backgrounds much, I'm not very good at them, so I'm actually pretty proud of this one because it doesn't look terrible. Second assignment was to use complementary colors, so I made a snake that's like purple and yellow, and I think it turned out kind of adorable, even though it's not really that realistic. But ball pythons are cute and I want one. Then the third assignment was to, I don't know what the English term for this is, but basically like use colors that are like next to each other in a color wheel. So I used like blue and purple and green. And I had just finished reading The Girl from the Well, so I had to paint the main character, the ghost from it, Okiku, because I loved her a lot. And for this assignment we had to study shadow and light, so I wanted to make a portrait because I really enjoy like shading faces. And I decided to paint Maze from Lucifer in her pink hair look because I really love the hair on her. I think this is the best portrait I've ever done. I'm not super good at them. I don't do realism much, but I think this one turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. The next assignment we had to like just paint hanging clothing. So naturally I had to make it all pink. So this was surprisingly time consuming. I think it turned out okay. I'm not like super happy with it. It could have been better, but at least it's done. At this point, that's just all I was thinking. As long as it's done, it's good enough. And then we had to do like some kind of glass. The actual assignment was to paint 3 glass bottles, but I forgot about the detail about there needing to be 3 of them, so I just made a vase. But I think this actually turned out really well. I'm really proud of this one, even though I made it really fast. I'm really pleased with myself with all the detailing on the glass here. I think it turned out really nice. even though I kinda rushed the rest of it, but that's fine. I got the main important part done and prepare for my face. We had to do a self-portrait using the style of another artist. So I picked Alice Chang. You may have seen her work. She's amazing. I have followed her for years. I have a couple of her prints in our bedroom. I don't know if I really managed to figure out how her style works, but it was really fun to do because it was just like a bit more, I guess a bit more messy than I'm used to doing, so it was relaxing, even though it was my own face, which is a questionable topic. Final assignment was to do something abstract, which is something I absolutely can't wrap my brain around. I don't understand it, so I just made something. But my friend called this an acid pancake, so I'll take that as a compliment and decide that I succeeded. At least I got to use colors I like. So yeah, that's all the basic class stuff for my final year, and then there's just the thesis monster. So yeah, these are all the sprites I had to make for each animation. Like, these are all the animations for the main character Alice. And then there's the another main character, Doll. Alice got the most of them because she had like 2 different attack animations and stuff. But boy, this was a project. There's the enemies and the final boss. It was a lot of work, a lot more than I realized, even though I thought I was being pretty good about not like making the project too much. And I guess I technically like stayed within my limits because we had to like count our work hours, and I didn't quite get enough work hours done because I work so fast, but it was fine. The game also had this kind of a cutscene, so I made a super simple kind of a comic thing for that to make it a bit more interesting. Oh, here's super early level design stuff. It's like concepts of how I wanted the game to look. Oh, there's some character concepts too. I had like 3 outfit color options for Alice at first, and then I ended up going completely different. These were supposed to be enemies in the game, but then I realized I really didn't want to animate more humans because walking animations are horrible. Original design for the main boss I feel like was a bit less impressive because the fire wasn't as big. These are the rest of the enemies. This guy came in to replace the thief guys that I decided to leave out. And I think he's kinda cute, even though he's supposed to be scary. I'm not good at making like scary enemies. This is like sketches for the enemy possibilities because I wanted to make ghosts. I feel like my ghosts are too cute. Here's some options for Doll too. Green is his color. Designs for him too. Yeah, that's some small insight into making games. I can show the trailer if you are curious about how the final game looks like. Although I do have the videos apparently on my channel too, but I'll just save you the trouble of having to look for it. Yeah, that was a thing that I did and just barely survived because while I was working on this, my hand started acting up, and it's still acting up, and it's really annoying. So it was kind of a painful process to actually get this done, but I did it. Yeah, I hope you find this at least a little interesting, since it's really just me going through my art folders, but I hope you like this video anyway. I have stuff from the comic art school too, if you are interested. It's more traditional stuff if you really want me to dig through my closets. But yeah, this is what I did in my University of Applied Sciences for my visual design degree. We also did a bunch of photography and video stuff, but I didn't include those since I wanted to focus more on like this whole graphic design side, since an illustration and animation side. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. See you next time with something else. Bye!